In this video, we'll learn how to use USU's standard Crestron touch panel found in many of the originating classrooms throughout the state. Some touch panels look slightly different than the one we'll use in this video, but have the same interface just with different graphics. A few sites and classrooms may have a UEN or a custom touch panel. You may need to contact your supervisor for additional training in those rooms. Now, to review, the Crestron touch panel is a device that allows one to control the codec in a broadcast classroom along with most of the other pieces of equipment in a room. The touch panel is connected to a Crestron processor. Now, if the touch panel is black, we simply touch the screen to wake it up. One of the first things we'll want to do is power on the displays in the room, like projectors and TVs. So let's start off by taking a look at the bottom section of the touch panel, where we have the power controls for the projector and monitors in the room. Pressing these will power on and off the different displays. We'll go ahead and turn everything on. Now notice the AV mute button next to the projector power button. When the projector is on, we can press this button to mute or black out the projector. Pressing the mute button again will unmute the projector. This can be useful if we want to black out a projector for a short amount of time without having to turn it off, then back on. Now, if a classroom has a motorized projector screen, we may be able to lower it from the touch panel by pressing this Screens button, then pressing the Screen button here. Next to the power controls are the volume controls for the room. These let us increase, decrease, or mute the incoming audio, or the audio we hear, in the room. Now that things are powered on, we'll want to quickly set up the room for the type of event we'll be facilitating by selecting one of these three buttons on the top right of the touch panel. Let's quickly go through what each one does. Face-to-face should be selected for face-to-face classes or meetings that are not using the IVC capabilities in the room. Teach IVC is for IVC classes or meetings originating from the room. This will set up the displays in the room so that the instructor's content, such as the PC or document camera, will be shown on the front projector or TV, while the receive sites will be displayed on the rear TV if there is one in the room. Receive IVC is for IVC classes or meetings where the instructor or presenter is located at a different location. When Receive IVC is selected, the front projector or TV will display the sites for students in the room. Now, technically speaking, it really doesn't matter whether Teach IVC or Receive IVC is selected. You can facilitate an originating class while in Receive IVC, and vice versa. These buttons simply help set up the displays in the room for the type of event you'll be facilitating. For this video, we'll pretend we are hosting an originating event, so we'll select Teach IVC so that the instructor's content is shown on the front projector or TV, and the Receive sites are displayed on the rear TV. If we want to further customize what is being displayed where in the room, we can do this from the Custom Video Switch page, which can be found by pressing this Displays button. From here, we can control what source is being sent to each display in the room. When we select a display, we can see what is currently being sent to that display. Let's say we want to show the document camera on the rear site monitor. First, we select Site Monitor, then we select DocCam. You probably won't need to use this page much, as outputs are usually switched automatically. Now, as previously mentioned, the front projector or TV will usually show the instructor's content at the originating site. If, however, a student at a receive site makes a comment, it's a good practice to show the receive sites on the front projector or TV so that students in the originating classroom can see who's speaking. We can do this through the Displays menu, but that can take some time. Instead, we can use this Sites button. When the Sites button is pressed, the front projector or TV will display the receive sites. When the Sites button is pressed again, the main displays return to displaying whatever source was previously on them. Okay, now let's take a look at the different video sources that can be broadcasted out. As you should have learned previously in this module, there are two types of sources that can be broadcasted out, a main source and a present source. Let's quickly review these sources. The main source, as the name implies, is the main source that's always being broadcasted out. Some of the common main sources available in most rooms include the instructor and student cameras, the classroom PC, and laptop. Usually we'll want either the instructor or student camera selected as the main source. The present source is an optional source that can be sent out along with the main source. When a present source is selected, it will, by default, appear larger than the main source at the received sites. Present sources are useful as they allow the received sites to see both the present source along with the presenter. Some of the available present sources found in most rooms include the classroom PC, laptop, and document camera. When a present source is selected, we can stop it if we choose by simply pressing this stop button. Now, one thing to note about present sources is that they often have lower frame rates than main sources. So if we show a video or something with a lot of motion on the classroom PC or a laptop, it may appear a little choppy to the received sites when sent out as a present source. To overcome this when showing a video on the PC or a laptop, we can stop the present source and select PC or laptop as the main source. Now, as previously mentioned, when a present source is selected, it will appear larger than the main source at the received sites as well as on the site monitor at the originating site. This may not always be desired, especially at the originating site, as it makes it difficult for the instructor to see their students at the other sites. We can change this in many rooms by using the Layout button here. The Layout button controls what's called the near-end layout on the codec. Pressing it brings up the Layout menu on the codec, which usually consists of this section on the left, along with these options along the bottom. Using the directional keys on the touch panel, we can select a layout from the left menu. We can select one of the options along the bottom of the screen using the soft key buttons on the touch panel. Now, in originating classes, we'll usually want to shrink the present source so that the instructor can see the sites larger. This can be done by selecting this Shrink Presentation option here. Now, note that changing the layout will not affect the layout at other sites. It only affects the layout in the classroom you're in. The Layout button will not work in classrooms with an SX80 codec. To learn more about this and how to change the layouts on an SX80 codec, press this button here at any time throughout this video. While we're on the subject of layouts, let's look at the Bridge button here. If we're connected to multiple sites, we can press this Bridge button to change what's called the Far End Layout, or the Site Layout. Pressing the Bridge button cycles through the various Far End Layout options. Most instructors like to be able to see all of their sites at once. This layout is usually the layout most instructors prefer. Right, now let's look at these Mute buttons. These buttons control the outgoing audio or the audio being broadcasted out. The All Mute, as the name implies, mutes all outgoing audio including the instructor's wireless microphone and any audio coming from the PC. When muted or read, no audio will be broadcasted out of the room. This should normally be unmuted or green. The Student Mute mutes only the student microphones in the room. In many classrooms, the student microphones are ceiling microphones like these. Student mic should always be muted unless a student in the room is making a comment. The controls for the cameras in the room can be found by pressing this Camera Controls button. From here, we can select a camera and control it using the directional and zoom buttons. We can adjust the speed at which a camera moves using these speed controls. We can also store and recall up to 4 presets for each camera. To store a preset, we simply press and hold a preset number for about 5 seconds. And congratulations! You've made it to the end of this video. Please continue through the remainder of this module.